What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for Monday. I'm also going to talk about what's going on with the SPY and the Nasdaq and why I expect a bit of a bounce for maybe the first few days of next week before we see even more downside and we get pushed down even lower. Now, before I talk about what's going on with the market, before I talk about what's going on with the Fed and also NIO, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. The first thing is I'm not a financial planner, so please don't take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed 6 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. Now, you could always sell these 6 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some NIO shares for free. And this limited time offer that ends in just 2 weeks. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. I also want to apologize for the audio quality. It may not be the best for this video because I am recording from a different place and at a different location. So with that out of the way though, let's just start off with what's going on with NIO. And you could see the overall market took a massive hit. You could see the market dropped pretty darn hard, and NIO was down by some margin. It was down 6%. But what's interesting is Tesla was down 11% during that time. And then when the market bounced, NIO got a nice bounce too. The Nasdaq was down 0.3%, and NIO was actually only down 1.32%, which is actually a good sign because NIO is showing a lot of strength right now, and it is starting to respect a bit of an upward trend. If you look at the 2-hour candles, check this out right here. Let me actually clear this out right here real quick. But you can see from right here, NIO is starting to respect a bit of an upward trend, but there is going to be some downside for the future, and I am anticipating that. But I'm going to show you what I think is going to happen first because we are showing some very interesting patterns. So looking at the SPY, check out the SPY. The SPY is dropping and dropping and dropping, but it's not dropping in a straight line. Look at the trend. We dropped hard. We pushed up a little bit. We dropped down hard again. Then we pushed up a little bit again. Then we dropped down hard again. We pushed up. We're dropping down. So the next clear trend would be we push up a little bit before we drop down even harder, and that's what I think is going to happen. I think excuse me, the SPY and the Nasdaq are following a very similar trend, and we are set for a temporary relief balance for just a couple of days before we see a little bit more downside. That's very common. If I could actually draw out the trend, it's not going to be too perfect, but we can see that the SPY is kind of respecting this downward trend that's acting kind of in this direction, and temporarily you can also see it entering this new channel where it's just continuing to make these new lows, continuing to push a little bit down. And from my perspective, okay, what I think the SPY is going to do is we're going to get a nice push, and then we're in this very key zone. So when we push up, previous levels of support are going to be our new resistance, okay? So where did we have a lot of support before? Right here in this 389 to 393 range. And also we got a lot of activity right here before we had resistance. So be on the lookout for that 390 to 393 range. That's where the SPY might get rejected. If not, we could push a little bit higher, as high as 400 before getting rejected again. So I predict that the SPY and also the Nasdaq, they're going to be bullish for maybe a day or two before we see a lot more bearish price action in the later days of the week. That's what I think is going to happen. For the Nasdaq, check it out right here. Similar trend. You can see the Nasdaq's been dropping, it pushes up, it drops, it pushes up, it drops really hard, pushes up, drops really hard again to a lower low. And it does look like we're set for a bit of a push up, and we could end up excuse me, we do have a gap right here, but I don't know if this gap is going to get filled that soon. But I do see a bit of a push up to that $11,600 range for the Nasdaq before we get rejected and start pushing down. So all these things playing a role together are going to be important. When it comes to the Fed, there isn't really much going on Monday. Monday is just commercial paper days, a selected interest rate day. But Tuesday, remember, Jerome Powell is going to be speaking, okay? It's going to be a pre-recorded video. So this could be very important. If he mentions something involving monetary policy, it could shake the market up. So be on the lookout for that at 12:20 p.m. Eastern time when Jerome Powell starts speaking on Tuesday. As for NIO, what on earth is going on with NIO? Well, if you look at the charts, you could see what NIO is doing. I'm going to use maybe the 2-minute candles. So what you'll notice is we got this clear double bottom right here, which is actually looking pretty good. And it does look like we want to enter this zone right here. That's going to push us all the way up to that $17 range, around 17 bucks, maybe a slightly higher before we get another potential rejection. And what I am anticipating is that's what this thing is going to end up doing. So what I think is going to happen is the market is going to be a little bit more on the bullish side, get a nice bounce for Monday slash Tuesday. If you look at the technical indicators for NIO, if you look at the 2 hour chart, check this out right here. NIO is still, it's not necessarily in that overbought territory, it just kind of cooled off on its RSI. The MACD did start to flip a little bit, excuse me, a little bit with the 9-day moving average. So we are seeing some indications that this thing will drop a little bit later. And I do see NIO dropping later this week. But before we drop, I do see a nice push coming. So let me show you, let me see. Let me use the 2 minute candles real quick, and I'm going to draw out what I think is going to play out. So look at NIO. We're in this key resistance zone around that $17 to about that 16, it's like 16.6 range, maybe a little bit higher, like right there. So 16.5, that's going to be the key zone. So if NIO were to push up, 16.5 is going to be resistance, 17 bucks resistance, 17.4 resistance, 17.93 also resistance. If we drop down, okay, 15.5 is going to be a key support zone, and then we have that golden pocket that could bring us down to that $14.4 level. I see that coming up in the next couple of days, but before we get to that lower level, what I'm anticipating is this, okay? Let me draw this out. Let me try to make this a little bit bigger and a little bit wider so you could see what I'm about to show you. I expect NIO to do this. Hold on. NIO is probably going to get a nice push in the opening with the overall market, and we're going to have some resistance around that $17 range, just like this. I think it's going to be kind of explosive in a way, and we're going to trade a little bit sideways here, but maybe push a little bit higher at some moments and then slowly kind of decline as the day goes on. But I do anticipate some green for Monday, and I do think NIO is going to hold up. It may even go to this upper channel around that $17.20 range. So I anticipate us to kind of close around that 17, looking a little bit more on the stronger side of things, as the market is going to see most likely a bit of a bounce. But by the later days, okay, this is what I think is going to happen. Guys, look at this key golden pocket right here. Let me redraw this. See these two yellow lines at the very bottom, 14.74 and 14.43. Excuse me. Those are key zones for NIO. And I do think NIO is going to slowly, by the time we get to like Thursday or Friday, it's going to start approaching this $14.4 level. That's a very key retracement level for NIO. So I do think that what's happening is we've been pushing up so hard. If I go to the 2 hour candles for the last couple of days, last like week or so, we've been pushing up really hard. We went from 11 bucks all the way up to about 17.4, and I do think we need a slight cool off. We also have a gap right here, which is coincidentally right where the retracement level is. So I do see NIO coming back to that range in the next couple of days if the SPY and Nasdaq do drop. But before we get there, like I said, we're going to push up most likely to that 17 range, trade a little bit there before slowly dropping towards the later days of the week. So overall, Monday, I expect us to maybe remain around 17 bucks. And then by the time we get to around Tuesday, we should trade a little bit sideways in that range and maybe stay a little bit green. By the time we get to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's going to start dropping, in my opinion, and NIO will start retracing to maybe that 15.5 range. And sometime next week, or even a little bit sooner than that, we could see this thing go back to that 14.74 to 14.43 range before getting another bounce and pushing up for later weeks. So overall, I have to be real with you. The market's not in the best of states. I want, excuse me, I want to inform you and let you be prepared for anything, but don't look at this as the end of the world. This is simply a opportunity. It's an opportunity because we have the ability, more opportunity to buy more shares for cheaper prices. You could scalp, you could day trade and do all these different things. It's not the end of the world, it's opportunity, because remember, nothing has changed when it comes to fundamentals. Yes, there could be some tensions between the US and China. That's okay. But fundamentally, NIO is expanding to different countries. They're innovating their AI. They have NAMI coming out, new models. They're improving their business models. Big banks like Bank of America are giving them bullish price targets. They do believe NIO is going to be back to that 26 range relatively soon. I mean, it just goes to show NIO still is a very bullish stock for the long term. Nothing has changed. This is just opportunity. So with that said, remain calm, cool, and collected. I may not always be right, but look at the other technical analysis I showed you when I showed you retracement levels too. I didn't just say NIO is going to explode. I just said their retracement and also potential resistance levels. I talked about all of that. So look at all of that. Don't just look at the prediction. It could be right, may not be, but I do believe that's going to happen. So be on the lookout for that. With that out of the way, thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great, great, great rest of the day. And I will see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon and peace out.